Listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve, and today in this unimportant review, we have the Super7 Heat Ray Godzilla, which was a New York Comic Con exclusive. Now, with these unedited videos, they go up on our Patreon in advance. So you guys like to help support the channel and donate, greatly would appreciate it. And you also get early access to these videos, and sometimes do other stuff on there as well. We have a Discord attached, yada yada yada. So again, link in the description for that if you guys are interested. And one of the reasons why this guy's getting an unimportant review instead of an actual review is I'm already kind of over this body style from Super7, because this is what, the fourth one we've gotten in a year of this particular one. Which, I will say, at least on a high note, each time they put one of these out, honestly, it's better than the original release. Though, fun fact, this one only comes with roaring head and beam head, so if you want the closed mouth version, you kind of need the original, which I guess is clever on their part anyways. Probably one of the reasons why we're getting separate heads is so if they want to do different versions of them, they can have the heads different for those sets. So it kind of makes you have to buy extra ones. Oddly enough, they don't really give you different hands, because he comes with a pair of clenching fists, the more like clenching hands, and then on him he has the open hands. So honestly, to be honest, it could have came with a closed mouth. It probably should have. They already have the mold. Could have just tossed it in. But instead we get the beam effect here. So I still want to do a review of this, because I didn't buy this one. He was actually sent in as a commission because his foot wasn't attached when I got him in. So I had to reattach it by drilling a hole, putting a wire in. Problem is this joint here is pretty much fused. So he doesn't have access to moving his feet up and down anymore on this. But it's still sturdy enough that you get rotation. So you can still position the legs out and get him to stand properly. But for the most part, he's not really bending here anymore, because it should do this. But if I go to do this with this, it's just gonna break the joint back off, and I don't wanna. But for the most part, you're buying this guy because it has the beam here. It shoots the beams. Now with this, you probably could send this back. To be fair, I would recommend, for the most part, depending on where you got it, if you're able to return it, I would return it. But what's cool, again, is it has the glow-in-the-dark effect here for the spines here and the beam, which I think is something that's really unique for at least action figures of Godzilla. I know we've gotten at least some collectibles that glow in the dark, but for like Monster Arts, NECA, you name it, I can't really think of another one that really took advantage of the effect. Because even for the most part, it's generally, if it would be, it's painted. And even the way the beams are usually done, it's either translucent colors, it's painted, or it has some kind of light gimmick. Nothing really like this. And I actually turned off the studio light here, which I usually have on. And to be honest, I'm going to see how this looks after recording, but to me, it almost looks better if I don't have that light on. But anyways, if I shut these lights, boom. The glow in the dark's pretty darn good for this. Alright, so real quick, just trying to show you guys the glow in the dark effect a little bit better, because it didn't show off very well when I did the original filming. So here's how it looks. This is going off. And then we got the little Miss Ranger over there getting light shine on her. She's not happy about it. Sorry, calm down. Only thing is, it's kind of bending, and I don't know if that's just because of the weight of the beam or just the way it was sculpted, but it almost kind of has that Showa aspect to it, where the Showa, it would bend the other way. This is kind of like he's shooting and starting to fall downwards, but the effect's pretty solid. It's got some blues, almost kind of like a little bit of a green tint to it. I think some of that just has to do with the glow in the dark. You can even see it for the spines here as well. Now, I actually don't own the original release anymore. I do have the Dark Horse one down here, which, grabbing that one from behind me. You can see it's literally the same spines. It's just these are done in the glow in the dark. These are just regular, but you can see where they swapped out the pieces. because it's kind of hard to see. Okay, I guess that one's actually a separate piece. So I was trying to look on the figure to see if that was molded in or its own thing. Well, actually, it's kind of molded in there too. Turn that back off. Yeah, so it's like that one glows. Oh, that might be glued in. I don't know. That looks like it's a part of the actual mold, kind of like this. It's just the way it cuts off. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Maybe it's just the back, because it's the centerpiece here is definitely its own piece, and this you can kind of tell its own piece too. But this looks like it's actually part of the body. But still, the effect works really well. And you get the blue tinting for the spines here on the back. But for the most part, everything else is just like the other Godzilla. So the tail is foldable, but takes some working. For the most part, it's always gonna kind of have this little bend to it, unless you really really mess around with it. But I think for a lot of people, it's just gonna be positioned in the upwards position. It's gonna be up. For the head, I actually had a really hard time getting this one on this one in particular. Even trying to heat it up. I was sitting here with a hairdryer trying to pop it in, and I got it like good enough to stay, but like once you start moving it, wanted to flop back off. But like I mentioned, for the head, you can rotate it. It goes up and down. A little side to side rotation. Shoulders go up about that far. Downwards about that far. Arms rotate. Rotation at the bicep. Elbows got a forward and a back. Hands can rotate. They're on a hinge. Rotation at the waist. Legs inwards and out. A little bit of forward and back kick. Knee. 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 Other knee. Forward and back. Look at this guy's got... If I have one major nitpick, this guy, he definitely has a lot of joint issues, which I think is... Honestly... this part actually pops in. Is kind of the biggest problem I've been having with these Super 7s is dealing with the joints, because we also did the review for the Mecha Godzilla not that long ago, and like the elbow was like almost fused to that thing too. So with some of these Super 7s, like if you plan on picking them up, expect to be heating up some joints using a hairdryer and trying to loosen it up as much as you can in order to really work the joints, so that you don't have any of these breakage issues like what happened with this guy's foot here in particular. Do I recommend him? He's alright. I think the effect is really cool and it makes him fairly unique. Honestly, out of the molds, I still think this one's my favorite. And a lot of it just mainly has to do with my love for the Dark Horse comics. I just really like the coloring and the way that this figure came out. For this mold in particular, the burning is probably the best one to pick up. Just because of the smoke effect, and he doesn't have like the glossy finish. And honestly, it's just like, it's got a little bit more going on. But this one's still, at least my personal favorite, and probably the biggest reason to pick up a Super 7 if you're going to pick up one. Outside of the Mecha Godzilla, even with the elbow, is still pretty sweet. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. So help us defeat those kaijus by hitting the like button, subscribe, become Ranger today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, Pinterest, Facebook. Guys, like you the day when you don't donate. Greatly would appreciate it. And if you guys like to pick them up for yourself, link in the description for Entertainment Earth. Help support the channel and get yourself a figure if you want, or if you want any other Super 7s. Oh, guy, have you seen that -1 Godzilla? He just got announced. Oh, my derb, it actually looks... I hate to see it, but it might look better than the monster arts. At least the prototype does. Now, will it look that good in hand? We'll have to wait and see. But at least from what I've seen, I was like, oh, if I had a beam. It had the blue with the poppies and the real gun thing. Oh, I'll take it. Anyways, see you guys next one. Bye-bye.